this microphone, so I do know that it's on. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished colleagues. It's really great to be here and to welcome you all to our 2010 convention, to have the chance to meet and speak with so many of you, and of course to share a glass of wine or two with you. I would particularly like to welcome our distinguished guests who join us tonight, our international visitors and our amazing Planning Aid volunteers and staff with us for the launch of a new guide from Planning Aid. I would also like to take this opportunity to say a special thank you to Steve Quartermain for taking time out from what must be a very busy schedule to join us tonight, and I'll be inviting Steve to say a few words in a moment or two. Steve is very much the voice of planning at the heart of government. He works tirelessly to promote planning, and as Steve helps new ministers to translate their programme for government into policies and actions, it's so good to have somebody on our side. I'm delighted to welcome you here tonight, Steve. As for the convention, I don't think we could have come up with a more appropriate or timely theme: planning shaping the future. Given the historic election of a coalition government just a few weeks ago, when David Cameron and Nick Clegg exchanged vows in the garden of Number 10, what could be more fitting? So I'm looking forward to the best ever convention. Over the next 2 days, we have a full programme with an exciting mixture of keynote speakers. There'll be lots of opportunities to debate the issues and question some of our top professionals, to catch up with old friends, and of course, I hope to make some new ones too. And of course, we're in the middle of the World Cup. I'm actually much more interested in what's happening in the tennis at Wimbledon, but nevertheless, I will be keeping a very beady eye out for anyone who comes to the convention with one of those bazooka things. I don't know everybody here tonight, but I think I do know what binds many of us together: a firm and resolute belief in planning as a means of changing the world, and a passionate commitment to volunteering as a truly powerful force for change within our communities. Planning Aid England and Planning Aid London bring together both planning and volunteering in a truly unique partnership with government. Tonight we celebrate the launch of a new guide from Planning Aid on best practice in public engagement. It could not be more timely, with the big society such a key theme from the new government as well. And if the call to arms from the last government was education, 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 you know that this government cries localism, localism, localism. And that's actually what planning has done for many years. It is an activity that is on the ground, in communities, not telling people what to do, but empowering them to take action for themselves. For developers, communities and decision makers, one of the biggest challenges in taking forward a development scheme is to ensure that public engagement is meaningful, inclusive, and bringing benefits for all involved. In response to numerous requests for advice, Planning Aid England and Planning Aid London have produced the Good Practice Guide to Public Engagement in Development Schemes. The guide tackles some of the challenges for communities, developers and decision makers head on. It provides advice and guidance and raises the bar of public engagement in planning. As local people are quick to tell us, a good development is one which works well within its locality. This means, as part of the design process, there is a need to understand how a place works and functions. Local people are clearly best placed to help with this. Good engagement is so much more than ticking a box. If there is no real commitment, key decisions have already been made, and that there are not enough resources or time, at best little is achieved, and at worst the community becomes more and more frustrated. Neighbourhoods are made up of a kaleidoscope of different groups. There is no perfect recipe for effective community engagement. Every development is different. Every community is different. And the Good Practice Guide gives us some essential ingredients which can be used to develop a positive and beneficial engagement process. So may I take this opportunity to thank all those at Planning Aid England and Planning Aid London for their hard work in putting together this guide, with the organisations and individuals who have contributed examples of good practice. It's very reassuring to actually see that there is so much good public engagement taking place across the country. It's also great to see how many other organisations and bodies have come forward to endorse the advice in the guide, and many of you are here tonight. And also a big thank you to David Hay. who is our senior contact and, I dare say, champion at CLG. As some of you know, I have a fondness for ending with a pertinent quote or saying. A Spanish poet, Antonio Machado, said very simply, "Traveller, there is no path. You make the path by walking it." Planning Aid has for some 35 years walked the path of community engagement where it barely existed. You, the Planning Aid volunteers, have helped make that path by walking it yourself. Thank you so much for doing that. It really does matter. And now it's my pleasure to invite Steve Quartermain to say a few words.